We're talking about Quantum Leap. And it looks like Ernie Hudson has been speaking to Black Nerd Girl. Is that right?
This is a Black Girl Nerds.
Black Girl Nerds about the new... It's not a reboot!
I know. It's the first thing I thought.
It's not a reboot!
Why is it so hard to get people to understand that this Quantum Leap is not a reboot?
Drives me nuts, bro.
Reboot literally means, you know where the term, I mean, hopefully everybody knows, but if you don't know, the term reboot comes from restarting your computer. When you rebooted your computer, you turned it off and then turned it back on, and you had a completely new experience, I guess. You rebooted the computer. So a reboot is technically, and now so like if you think of it that way, I guess you could say, well, you turned the computer off, now you turned it back on. So now it's a new experience. But that's not what reboots have traditionally been considered.
Yeah.
Right?
So
reboot is starting over.
Right. Yeah. So reboot means like when it comes to television and movies, a reboot is when you are starting again. Right. You're starting with new cast, new story. There's not a continuation from scratch. It's not a continuation of the original intellectual property that it's based on. This is a continuation. If you really want to harp on the word, maybe you can call it a revival, but even then it wouldn't be correct. So let's just call it what it is. It's Quantum Leap 2022. That's what it is. It's an actual, real
continuation.
A real year for year, time allotted continuation of Quantum Leap. So this is just Quantum Leap. It's just a Quantum Leap 30 years later. That's what it is. I don't know why these are like actual journalists. I don't know about this person, but actual like paid journalists with blue check marks and 2 million followers they keep calling it a reboot. It's gonna drive me crazy, bro.
Are they paying their $8 for their blue check?
But they're not. They're paying their $8. Play your $8 because you need the money to go back to school to learn what English is, and that's coming from a guy with a speech impediment. How dare you?
So Ernie Hudson, who's playing Magic, Herbert Magic Williams on the continuation of Quantum Leap 2022, a character who actually, another reason why it's not a reboot, this character was in the original series.
He was in the original series. You're talking about a character who was this. It's the same character from both series, and you're still calling it a reboot.
So Dr. Sam Beckett jumped into or leapt into Magic's body during the Vietnam War, saved the entire platoon. And so we have this wonderful thing that happens in Quantum Leap this year where Magic actually describes the experience that occurred. And we, for the first time, get to hear what it's like to be jumped into, or what it feels like to be jumped into, and kind of what that experience is like. Really great. I love that they did that. I thought it was fantastic world building. So in this is one of the few interviews we've got to see from the cast. And he goes on to tell this website basically a little bit about his character. And essentially what he says here is that Magic got this team together to restart the program because he wanted to bring Sam Beckett home. Now, he kind of alludes to that in the show, but right here, Ernie Hudson essentially solidifies that's the reason why Magic is currently in Quantum Leap. His goal, his purpose, the primary purpose of bringing Dr. Beckett, the primary purpose is bringing Dr. Beckett home.
Right.
So what does that tell us? This is really important if you're watching Quantum Leap. We've been trying to figure out why the heck Ben leapt out early, unexpectedly, without telling anyone, and when he wasn't even supposed to be the leaper. And for the longest time, we kept saying, well, it must be because he's going to get Sam and bring Sam home. Like, what's the purpose of doing it? Well, this actually confirms that that is not the reason. It's the reason he leapt. It may not end up being what actually happens, and we hope that, and we have a theory in our other video that actually talks about it. And we do think he'll find Dr. Beckett. But this confirms for us that he didn't leap for that reason, because he wouldn't have, if the goal was to get Sam home, then he would have never leapt alone to go get him. The team would have already been working on that. So this kind of confirms to us that Ben did not leap for that reason, and it changes what a lot of people's theories are. So while our theory, and just to give you a quick thing on it, we believe that Ben is going to run into Sam along the way unexpectedly.
Right.
And you can watch the thing if you want to know more about it. But what do you think, Brian, about this whole thing? He first started.
Yeah, I think that, and this is the video. You guys go check it out. It's called, Search for Sam. I do think that this is confirmation that Ben isn't looking for Sam, because if he was looking for Sam and he was aware that Magic was also joined the program for the purpose of paying Sam back and finding Sam, then he wouldn't have hid that fact from Magic and leapt on his own. He would have utilized Magic in his mission, unless Magic does know and for some reason he's playing dumb, which I don't think that's the case.
Well, yeah, he didn't share it with it, but we do know that Jen knows the story,
and so does
and now he's told. So maybe he never did tell. I mean, it's possible, right? But I think the show would kind of come up a little lame if that was the case. If he jumped, he's like, "Why did you jump? Why did you leap, Ben? We were going to save him anyways." You know, that would be kind of a lame way to do a show, and I don't think that in the spirit of what we've seen up to this point, that's the way they're going. It's just, I can't believe it's going to be that dumb. So they're way too intelligent up to this point. It's been too interesting. I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, so far it's been totally rock solid. Like, great television, great Quantum Leap, really good stories. And, we were actually bummed out a little bit that, like, our last video didn't seem to take off like they usually do. And it was probably because there isn't a big audience yet for Quantum Leap like there is for Star Trek and other things. But I'm telling you, if you are a fan of science fiction, I'm not even going to say Quantum Leap. I'm just going to say science fiction. This is a rock solid science fiction show. It's really good. It's not like woke or whatever. Some of the casting made it appear that way. I know we complained about it before we had seen it. But when you actually watch the show, like, it is proper storytelling. It's very good. It's well done science fiction. And it honors the original series. So if you're a fan of the original series, it not only honors it, but it mentions them constantly. It really gives credit to the original actors and characters for everything happening on screen. And it's really well done. It's really well done. You need to watch it.
So $2 super chat here from Orville Nation. It's literally season 6.
Right.
And, guys, it is. There was never a season 6, of course, because Sam Beckett with 1 T, can't believe they messed that up, never came home.
Did they mess it up, really?
They did. They misspelled his name. The studio actually put that card up because when it was canceled, it was not Don Belisario who ended up putting the card up. So that final thing came from the network who didn't even know the spelling of Dr. Beckett's name.
That's like O'Neill. 2 L's.
Right. So, season 6 was supposed to be, and you can learn that in this video actually, there was actually a plan for season 6 where Al was going to leap into the future after Sam. And so you can look at that if you want to see more. But so thank you for that super chat, PJ. You're 100% right. This is essentially season 6.
Right. And we explain it, like Shane said. We also explain how that possible season 6 could connect to this actual season 6.
Right. And I noticed that Paul said something over here. He said, well, I still believe in a waiting room. And then runs away. And what's funny, I love how Paul did that because he's right. The waiting room in the original series was, and the fact that they don't have one here, and they came out, the writers came out, and there's an article out there that talks about it, where they just simply did away with the waiting room. Mm-hmm. And it's hard that they did that because in a way it gets rid of canon. right? But at the same time, it can really screw up your writing process.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes you question why you don't do certain things when you have somebody sitting in the waiting room. Whatever body Ben is in the waiting room. And it really can mess up the storytelling, which is why the original series didn't go there very often. And so now they're like, we're just going to get rid of it altogether. But you do have fans who are like, there's no waiting room. I don't want to watch it.
Well, it's
that's a cop out.
Well, it's a cop out too, but because I feel like, why can't the technology have, like, it's, again, this is in the future. It's not like it's in the past. Like, if it was taking place alongside of or before our Quantum Leap, that's a valid criticism. What if it's...
I do feel like it should have been addressed. That the show should have addressed it inside the story somehow. And that would have been cool. And it would have just like really put people's minds at ease. And like we could have moved on from it.
We're six episodes in now.
This show. What?
We're 6 episodes in now.
Right, but it would have been addressed already. Okay. I think. They still could. Maybe they will when they shoot the final 6. Maybe they will have heard everybody. Because what a lot of the people who are saying, well, I'm not watching Quantum Leap. There's no Scott Bakula, and there's not even a waiting room. And it's like, well, if you're using that to be the reason why you don't watch the show, then that's not right. Because they have not explained it. But I don't think the waiting room was so critical to telling the story of Quantum Leap that it not being here makes it so you can't watch this Quantum Leap.
But I also think that because they haven't explained it, you can explain that criticism away by saying it's been 30 years. The technology should be better in 30 years.
That's not how, I know, but that's not how things work. Like, yeah, you can explain it away with your own headcanon, but I don't believe in making your own headcanon. I believe in only what's been given to me.
Hold up, though. They haven't given it to you yet, so they haven't explained it either way. They haven't explained it to the point where it deserves criticism.
I don't think they will. No, the criticism is they're not going to address it.
Well, so that be criticism, but the criticism shouldn't be, well, there's no waiting room, because there's no explanation of said waiting room yet. So until there's an explanation, it can't be a criticism.
That's not true. What if they never show it? So you can never criticize it? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, like, again, though, 6 episodes in. Like, you're saying they should have already addressed it, but there's plenty they haven't addressed yet. When 90% of every episode is spent on the leap itself, and so little of it's spent on the actual HQ.
I'm sorry, man. This many episodes in, there should be an explanation. If Sam's body, or if the body of the leaper is removed in somewhere, the soul is removed into Ben's body. So Ben's body should technically be in the waiting room, and the soul of the person that he just replaced is there.
Yeah, but isn't Ben's body completely gone? They did explain that.
I don't think to the satisfaction of...
But they did. They said his body's gone.
Just simply saying his body's gone is not an answer.
It was more than that. But, so with this tech, him and his body leapt, not just his mind.
Right. But the reason why they did this in the original series where there was a waiting room is because you couldn't philosophically explain where his body is.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Right. And so now we have this weird, like, where's his body? Where's his body?
I think it's nitpicky. Nitpicky.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not a reason not to watch the show, but it is something that's unexplained and they should be held accountable for. There should be I think what they're doing is like, let's just not talk about it because there's really no way to explain this away. They decided not to do it because it's harder and it makes things more difficult.
Real quick. I
should have never done it in the first place.
I want to applaud you, Shane, because Shane found this ridiculously old footage of the reshot thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it looks bad because like the footage was really bad. Like I literally let it play with stars overlaying it because it looks so bad. Like my OCD mind couldn't allow the audience to see it in its native form. But I'm so proud of you, bro. Like you found like a website and a video of people that found film negatives of the original ending.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like there was a YouTuber that loved Quantum Leap so much that she talked about it. And honestly, had she not been so obsessed with Quantum Leap, this would have never came out because Don Belisario, that guy right there that we're seeing, he kept denying it. He didn't want people to know that there was more to it because he knew that we weren't going to get to make more Quantum Leap maybe for a long time. And he didn't want fans to be upset. And so but the problem is when you're on set, people take photos,
right?
And video is shot. So this YouTuber found a bunch of negatives, and they were buying up like Quantum Leap negatives and different shows that she liked. And when she got it, she was looking at the negative and she's like, don't remember ever seeing that. And that's when she realized it. And shortly after she put that out on Reddit came the actual video from the alternate ending shoot. And the script showed up for what would have happened for season 6. And it's like, oh, dang, there was all of this plan to continue Quantum Leap.
And you know what's funny is that season, and if you watch the video, you'll see it, that potential season 6 can actually play perfectly into what we're seeing now in this actual season 6.
I mean, minus Al, because that portion of it never happened, you know, but yeah. So.
Hey, real quick, Dork Knight. So he says, in the original series, and it says Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the Quantum Leap Accelerator and vanished. That is in the original. That's exactly what they say at the beginning of every episode. So I don't know. Maybe the writing.
I do have one other criticism of the show. And listen, love the show. Show's going great. Really enjoying it. They haven't let Ziggy talk yet, and that was something that was really important to the original series. And I think it's something that really needs to happen in this show too, because we really need to hear Deborah's voice, who's also a producer, who is Donald Belisario's ex-wife, and was the voice of Ziggy. And it would be great to hear that. And she's given credit as being the voice of Ziggy in the show. So at some point we're going to hear it, I think, or else they wouldn't have put it. But
yeah, you can't. But yeah, so I think that some people are looking for everything to be given to them very quickly. And like we are 6 episodes in, like there's got to be a slow burn. We have to fall in love with these new characters before every single old member berry is addressed.
Well, Ziggy's already being utilized, so that's not fair. You know, and they're also halfway through the original shoot. So I would say that Ziggy is an integral part. Ziggy is probably the most important element of Quantum Leap.
We're gonna have 20. We're gonna have 20 episodes, right? 18 episodes.
18 episodes.
It's a lot. So it's a lot of episodes.
But if they didn't film it in the first 6, I'm like, when does it kind of happen? You know what I mean? Like, it's not much. Ziggy speaking is not a big deal. And you could have some really great quipping between Ziggy and Ian. So it's just
true. Well, I'm sure we'll get it. Yeah. Yeah. So address this, please. Dork Knight says Sam wasn't in the imaging chamber waiting room area in the original series. He said he just finished the Evil Leapo trilogy, and the people in the waiting room were always the actual people.
Well, that's what we saw, but I think it was explained that it was supposed to be Sam's body with them in it. You know, it's a really muddy thing they did with the original series with the waiting room. They didn't show it very often, and I think if you ask Donald, like, I bet he would say, "I wish I would have never done that." You know, because what you do need to know is it is very possible for Ben to be leaping around out there in his body, technically, because Sam is leaping in his own body now. So his final leap, it was him leaping. So, but you saw him. You did. So Ben is leaping into other people. So it just, I mean, like I said, there's no solution to it. It's just not happening, and it feels like it's a little bit of an empty thing. But I think if you just stop worrying about it and move forward, then we can just kind of get past it.
Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it.
It's not changing the story at all.
What about this? What about this? Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the Quantum Leap Accelerator and vanished.
That's what it says at the beginning.
So like, if he vanished, then how is he in the waiting room?
They later on added the waiting room. So that was the beginning of the show. And somehow they were like, we need to talk to somebody.
So I have a theory.
Put him in a waiting room.
I have a theory. I think the people that, first off, I think the writers that are writing this current show, I think they're Quantum Leap fans. I do.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, and the creator is part of the writing team.
Because it's so Quantum Leap. I think that utilizing the fact that it's been 30 years and technology can change, I think that can actually be writing a problem with the original series.
I'm okay with that because they rebuilt the system. You got to remember, this is not the original. You know, I don't know if anybody's really aware of this. This is not the Quantum Leap facility that Sam Beckett built
in New Mexico.
This is a rebuilt facility based on his on his work,
on his technology. Right?
So there could be other things. I don't know why. They should have probably just had a one-off thing saying, it's a good thing we don't need that. It's a good thing we don't need that waiting room anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
our new facility is so small. Thank God we don't need that waiting room anymore.
Yeah. Anything like, all right. You know?
Yeah. There's, by the way, all these questions are great. We don't have the answer for these questions. Like, how do you jump forward in time? We don't know.
Like, how do you what?
Like, Atheist for the Cause question. If you can't jump forward in time, then how do you ever get back once jumping? Well, you can jump forward in time, apparently.
Well, here's how you can jump forward in time. You guys want to know the answer?
Don't do the slingshot thing. Do not dare.
No. Go watch the video. No, I'm just kidding. No. It does say it in the video, because here's what happens. Really, here's how Sam got to the future. Okay, if season 6 would have happened, Sam was going to the future. It was God, fate, or whoever that bartender was sent him there.
I hate that so much.
That's how we got to the future. Because remember, Quantum Leap really embraced the idea that Sam eventually could control where he wanted to go. Like, he told him, you can go anywhere you want. And so he controlled that by going to right or wrong, by going to Beth when she thought Al had died in Vietnam. And so she didn't move on with her life before he came home, because he was a prisoner of war. And he leapt there to tell her he had control of where he went. So Sam leapt into the future, according to what was going to happen with season 6. And the bartender tells this to Al, who leaps into the bar. So go check out that video if you want to learn more about that. And we think Ben is probably heading that way too. And if you're enjoying Quantum Leap and you like our takes on what's happening, please, we do review the show every Monday, right?
Yep, every Tuesday morning.
Or every Monday we watch it. Tuesday morning we review it live with our members. So subscribe, like, and you can get that. We will be getting that information out.
Yeah, and to become a member of our main channel, you cannot click the join button if you're watching it on this channel. You actually have to click it in the description or in the pinned comment.
Yes, that'll take you over to our main channel.
Yeah, we have more than one channel. Okay, that's it. Let's move on.